In this video I'm going to expose this YouTuber called We Have a Problem. And what I will suggest is that he is a Freemason, and that his channel has Freemasonic symbols in it, especially in the introduction. And he has 158,000 subscribers on YouTube, and his channel hasn't been banned. Now, to begin with, I'll say something positive, that he's been against the vaccine passports. So that's a positive. But he's one of these people that emerged out of the Brexit row. Now, Brexit is nothing more than the City of London avoiding tax. And you'll see in the future that the UK will become more and more integrated back into the EU. But they still want those laws that protect the City of London. And that's what it's all about. And they created these fake alt-right groups which saw the Brexit debate be about immigration, when now the British government is actually bringing workers from Russia into England so they could pay them low wages. So it was nothing to do with immigration, but they funded lots of people who gave this fake patriotic account of Brexit. And Nigel Farage, who's a City of London insider, is a Freemason. And this can clearly be seen in my previous videos. And so we've just had elections in the UK, and what you notice is that all those people that were pro-lockdown, no matter what political party they were, like Sadiq Khan has been elected Mayor of London again, somehow, they've all been re-elected. And the only one that's done badly is the Labour Party in general, but the Labour Party has been destroyed on purpose. And what I would suggest is that the UK and its elections has a history of vote rigging, and that what we have today is some kind of North Korea style elections. And in the past, the first Prime Minister of the United Kingdom was called Sir Robert Walpole, who was a Freemason, and he was a crook. And he took part in one of the biggest financial scandals called the South Sea Bubble, where they invented a company which was like the East India Company, but it actually didn't exist, and you had loads of people investing in it, and then it went bust, and lots of people lost their money, apart from the insiders, who were the inside investors. And those big investors that remained were continuously paid right up until the present century. They were being paid by the taxpayer. So what Robert Walpole did is that he was part of this huge scam of this invented company which didn't exist. Then the big investors pulled out at the right time. The smaller investors all went bankrupt, but the investors that were left were then paid back by the British state, and they were still being paid back, I think, just a decade ago. And so it's a bit like the banking crisis, where all the debts of the banks were put onto the British taxpayer. It is another scam. And you have these scams again and again and again in British history. And in UK Parliament, you have a history of things called rotten boroughs, where they had boroughs which were there essentially where they could buy votes so that aristocrats could get into Parliament and push their agendas. And nothing has changed. And you have cash for questions. So the same thing has been happening through history all of the time. And you have to question whether any election has ever been genuine. And so I am going to expose this YouTuber, We Got a Problem. Okay? So he has the Union Jack. Now the Union Jack is a Masonic symbol with the red and the blue. And it represents, so Wales, Scotland and Ireland. Now if you know anything about the history of the UK, it's a Masonic country. And it spread Freemasonry to the rest of the world. And so you have the Union Jack colours here, clear Masonic colours, and it's related to the Stone of Jacob. And Jacob was one of the main characters in the Old Testament, and when he slept, you had a ladder to heaven. And one of the main Masonic symbols is a ladder to heaven. So you have the Stone of Jacob. And what you notice is that he has this Union Jack flag, kind of putting that he's kind of a patriotic right-winger. Well, what I suggest is that he's a Freemason, and Freemasonry controls both left and right. And it always has done. And it's part of a dialectic. But they always, through those two means, they always push their agenda. Now what's interesting here is he has a pug dog with one eye showing. So the one eye of the Freemasons. Okay, you have the kind of pyramid here, you have the one eye and the pug dog. Now you notice that many politicians on TV, when they're on Good Morning Britain, always have this Union Jack, again showing you that they are all Freemasons. Now let's look at the history of the pug dog, because you'll find that the pug dog is symbolic of Freemasonry. And a pug dog was owned by the painter Hogarth, who was a Freemason and part of the Hellfire Club, and used to take part in these rituals where they used to do mock sacrifices and have prostitutes and little kids. So very similar to the thing that goes on in Eyes Wide Shut. And so he had a dog called Pug, and the name of his dog Pug was called Trump. And so you have Donald Trump. Watch my videos where I prove that Donald Trump is a Freemason. I've done videos with Hogarth and the Hellfire Club. It's links to British Prime Ministers, showing you that it's all Masonic, okay? Now, listen to this. Listen to this clip from the BBC about secret knowledge on Hogarth and his pug dog.
What you may begin to notice is each one features a little pug. Well, all except this one, where the poor dog has been snapped off, but he has left his calling card. Now, you may be wondering what pugs have got to do with the Masons. Well, in the 1730s, the Pope told the Germans that he didn't like the idea of anybody swearing an oath of allegiance to anybody other than the Catholic Church, so they were not permitted to become Freemasons. And so they founded the Order of Pugs, as it was known in Germany, the Mipsen Order. This was a society in which men and women could partake, and almost as a send-up of true Masonic ritual, the Order of the Mopses decided that the initiation would involve the blindfolded candidate being presented with the rear end of a pug, and you had to kiss the ring, I suppose. But we shouldn't get too carried away. People say whenever there's a pug in Hogarth, that's because he was a Freemason. Well, actually, he was a Freemason, but he's...
So there. It shows you that the pug is a symbol of Freemasonry. Now, in that clip, it shows you that the ceremony included kissing the ring of the pug, which was kissing its backside. You will notice that in Satanism, you kiss the anus of the devil. So it seems to be a reference to that. It also might be a reference to anal sex and sodomy. Okay, so you have the pug, a dog, as a symbol of Freemasonry. And so you have this YouTuber who presents this alt-right image, has 158,000 subscribers. He has a pug, a Union Jack, and a one-eye symbol there. Thank you.